Thanks for checking out this movie review video. This is for the 2022 film Raven's Hollow. It's a Shudder original and it's coming to Shudder on Thursday, September 22nd. I'm going to say off the bat, this was an okay film for me. I'm not going to highly recommend it. I'm not going to say definitely don't see it and it's a bad film because it's not. There's some good things here. There's some things I didn't like so much, but when I get to the synopsis, I'll kind of give you one of my feelings that I might not share with a lot of people, but maybe, I don't know, maybe more people I think. I don't know. Directed by Christopher Hatton, who also directed Sammyville, Robotropolis, which sounds great. I need to find and watch that one, and Battle of the Damned. And I will say on that note, saying his name, directing, well done. Cinematography, well done. It looks good. It looks very good. It is dark, but in the sense of like, intentional color leaching. And I think a lot of it has to do with the time period it's set in. So just think that, but I'll bring it up again. Written by Hatton as well as Chuck Reeves, who wrote a script for a film called Ogre. And I'm going to reiterate, a Shudder original coming Thursday, September 22nd. So this is a no spoiler review for that reason. Now, if you want to comment on this video, though, you can down in the comments. And you can talk spoilers if you want to. So just know, if you want to leave a comment and you don't want spoilers, don't read other comments because there could be spoilers. So if you want to talk spoilers, you can do it. Also, this is a perfect time to just ask, please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. It literally helps me out. It keeps me motivated to keep doing this, and it is the best way for you to repay me if you like this video or any video I've ever done. It is quick, painless, costs you no money, so please. Anyway, synopsis of this film, it's one of those films that's kind of like, let's take a historical figure and make up a fictional story around them. There was another Shudder film that came out within the past year or so about Mary Shelley that was fictionalized. I forget, I think it was called like The Nightmare Wakes or something like that. That one was okay as well, but I personally am not a big fan of those types of films. I think it's more kitsch than anything. And I also just think like it's a little bit weird to try and shoehorn a bunch of things about the character that we actually know historically and put it in like a fictional context. Now, that's, a personal thing for me. I know there are probably a lot of people out there who are just like, actually, I love it. I think it's kind of fun to take an actual historical figure and fictionalize them. It's just not my thing. It's something that just doesn't excite me. I don't know. But anyway, this focuses on Edgar Allan Poe and taking Edgar Allan Poe and putting him back in the time period he was alive. Basically, he's in the military in this. He and his military compatriots are on a trek and they come across a man who has been basically like hung up like a scarecrow with pretty bad wounds, basically. He manages to say something before he is done, which harkens to a work of Edgar Allan Poe, which you can probably surmise from the title of the film, which then leads them to a nearby town where they start trying to investigate basically what happened to this guy. And then obviously there's a lot more going on here than people would think initially, and it's horror. So that's my best synopsis for it, because I don't want to give anything away if people want to watch it. Like I said, it's a decent film. It's not like a crazy awesome film in my opinion, but yeah. Gorgeous shot to open the film, I will say. It does have one of those intro scenes that's supposed to really hook you, and it does. It does a very good job of hooking you in, so good job on that. But it's beautiful the way they open it up, like the shot. They framed it so well. The scenery is amazing. Like, it just looks, yeah, it's a nice way to establish and start things. Something very interesting happens in the opening segment as well. Just to let you know, at the very end of that segment, that's the thing that really grabs you, that makes you be like, okay, what is going to be going on in this film? And one of the strengths of the film, I think, is you don't truly know where it's going to end up going, and you don't truly know what the filmmakers have in mind for an overall story, so that's good. There is that aspect of like mystery that kind of keeps you going, and there is a little bit of a procedural kind of crime-solving element to the film as well, so if you like that, you may enjoy this film. There's some wooden acting in it. This is one of my biggest issues. There's some really good acting in this, but there's also some not so great and very rigid wooden acting in this. Unfortunately, including the lead, who plays Poe. It's not always, but there are just these moments where there are line deliveries where you're just like, that's odd. It's very like it doesn't flow properly. It doesn't feel right at all, and it took me out of the film numerous times. So it's also just weird to me when someone who's in the lead is getting upstaged by people who aren't. It's just an odd thing to me, and it makes you wonder, like, why was that person chosen to be the lead? And maybe they actually are a better actor on any other given day, and maybe it has something to do with what was being asked of them from the director. I don't know. I'm not gonna guess on those things. I'm just gonna tell you what I saw with the product that was put in front of me. So those are my feelings, and other people may feel differently about it, which is fine. The colors are pretty drab. So I don't know if people care that much about color palette in film. I'm fine with it, especially it seems to be a very common thing nowadays with these period horror pieces. They want it to be more like dark and gritty and dirty, and I think a lot of that having to be with the fact that it's kind of how it was. Like people didn't have like flashy, well-colored things because what you have to remember is during that time period, it cost a lot more to have like bright, colorful, nice-looking clothing and stuff around your house like that. So it was pretty drab. So it nails the aesthetic that is pretty true to what's going on. The other thing I liked about it to kind of like keep it consistent with that time period, they used a lot of natural lighting to light shots in this, and I think they did it in an effective manner. And that's good because, like I said, it keeps you in that time period. It immerses you. It keeps the world that was built going. So I like that as well. The look and how the characters speak and act does jive with the time period as well. So once again, going with that whole really immersing you in that time period effectively. So well done on that. This is like I was saying, like there are a lot of things that were done well, but there are some things that like key things I wasn't big on. The score gets pretty heavy-handed at times. This is one of the big things I harp on all the time. When a score seems at times like it's screaming at you, I'm not a fan of that. I think that's treating your audience like they're kind of stupid. And I think a more restrained score works a lot better because you can allow the audience to feel the way they're going to feel in the moment and kind of figure things out a little bit for themselves. Like having the score, but having like a low volume on it, you're still giving people an idea of what you want them to get. You're just not screaming at them. So this has a few of those issues. About 55 minutes in, there is something really cool looking, practical effects wise. And it's not just how the actual practical effect is executed, but it's how the shot is framed. Very interesting, very cool way to do it, and you'll know what I mean. 55-minute mark, look for it if you're going to watch it. Very cool, I did really like that. There's a really cool partial reveal of what's really at play about an hour into the film. Now that's another moment that does kind of like pique your interest a little bit more, and it makes you kind of like, okay, I'll finish this thing out. I'll see where we're really going here. Just gives you a little bit of a breadcrumb. Now that said, I kind of would have liked more of these tasty little morsels sprinkled throughout the film because the pacing does become a bit of a problem. It does become an issue where you're just feeling like the same thing is kind of being rehashed a decent amount within the film, and that maybe it's being stretched for time slightly. I think it's like an hour and 38 minutes or something like that. Runtime is with the credits and everything, so I don't know. There's a well-designed CGI thing in this towards the end of the film. I'm not going to say what it is, obviously, because I don't want to give anything away, but it wasn't shown for a long period of time, which I think is a smart move, because sometimes if you just let people have CGI in front of their face too long, they'll see, any sort of issues like the edges not looking right and stuff like that in with how it blends into the environment. So it looked really good, especially for kind of how quick it is. But it's not too quick either. Like, you get a good look at it. It's like the perfect amount of time for the most part. And I like the design of it. It was cool. So you have that to look forward to. It does drag at times, like I was talking about. Unfortunately, the pacing's not the greatest. And I think the end portion is way too drawn out. The third act, way too drawn out for what's going on here. They should have made it a little more succinct. I think they needed another pass at the script to really look at trimming a bunch of the fat out of it. Which, it probably wasn't like a ton, but I think they could have cut 15 to 20 minutes, to be honest. Probably more towards the 15 minutes. The ending to me was eh. It wasn't a great ending. It didn't feel like a huge payoff. But for people who like the journey, there's a decent journey there. And I know this will find its audience. I know there will be people who watch this film and they're like, man, that was really good. And I hope I do hear from those people. Well, I pretty much always do. I encourage people who disagree with me to comment because maybe I missed something, or it's just also good to know that if I'm not super enjoying a movie, that there are people who are, because a lot of hard work goes into all these films. It really does. What I like most about this film is the atmosphere that gets built and how they actually maintain the atmosphere very well throughout the film. So once again, there are a lot of good things that were achieved with this film. It's just like overall, I don't think the story was strong enough for me. I think there are problems with the pacing. The music was a little too over the top. The acting issue I talked about, like all those things kind of come together to kind of knock my rating down. But still, I wouldn't say don't see the film. It's decent enough. So out of 5 stars with half stars in play, I'm going to give it 3 stars. And I think that's definitely fair. I was between 2.5 and 3, but there are enough good things that I think they executed really well to give it the 3 stars. So 3-star rating for this, but would love to know your opinions. Like I said, put the comments down there. Subscribe to my channel though too, please. Hit the notification bell button so you know when I'm putting up new videos and all that jazz. But thank you so much regardless for taking your time to watch this video. And until next time, keep it brutal.